Hi everyone. First week of March and I'm in London, the UK, and it's like 5 degrees outside, so spring doesn't seem to be uh, here with us yet. So knowing that many of you are now sitting doing your projects for university, I thought I'd just sit here and do another SPSS video. Okay, I'm dealing here with opening Excel file in SPSS. Now, for various reasons, I kind of suggested that it's better that you guys, having collected your questionnaire or survey data, you enter it into SPSS directly rather than do it through Excel. One of the reasons is that for most of us it will be our first time to SPSS, so after a few hours entering data in SPSS we'll just feel much more bonded with the software. But suppose we've got hold of somebody else's or data file and it's in Excel, so we have to somehow open it in SPSS. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how to do coding if you need to in SPSS, and also how to handle missing values. And all this is from a data file in Excel. Alright, let's have a look at an Excel file. Okay, I've given you, this is a survey, I've just made up this survey. It's a survey of going to movies. So variables I've got is gender. I've got a mix of variables. So gender, which is categorical, age, which is continuous, type of movie, which is categorical, and the frequency, which is categorical. So these categorical variables, they are like where you've got a box in your survey and the respondent ticks a box. And I've got how many people here? 1, 2, 3, 4 people in my fictitious survey. Obviously that's not enough for a survey. So for the first person who completed my survey, it was a male, 19 years old, type of movie, they preferred comedy, frequency, often. Alright. And then also we can say something further about the categorical variables. Remember, the categorical variables can be either nominal or ordinal, which is an important distinction for some types of analysis you want to do. Gender is nominal. Type of movie here is nominal. Frequency, of how often you go to the movie theatre, is ordinal. If you're not sure what I mean here, just look at my movie about questionnaire data entry in SPSS where I discuss that more. Alright, well look, before I've made this video I had a look at what was out there on YouTube, and I hope this is going to be an improvement. So, do you enter your data like this in Excel, or if you see it, you could see it like this form where it's all in words, or you might see it where it's coded, what they say it's coded, right? Some of you might code it automatically. Now this is what I've seen around in the YouTube videos. This second one is exactly the same as the top one, but it's just been coded. So here, coded just means you attach a numerical value to each kind of output. So 1 here, let 1 be male, 2 be female. So you can see it matches to female, 1 male. Age I don't need to relabel because it's scale. Alright, it's anything that's categorical. So comedy here, so we've let comedy be coded 1, romance 2, action 3, back to comedy 1. So I hope you get the idea. And likewise with frequency. Immediate question some of you have asked me, or I remember one student asking me, delegate asking me in a training session, is if I use the coding for one type of variable, like I've used 1 and 2 here for gender, can I use the same kind of numbers for the other variables? Can I use the same coding for the other variables? The answer is yes. Actually better compare these two. So comedy, type of movie, I've used numbers coding 1 to 3. Frequency, I've also used numbers 1, 3. I've also need 4 as well because I've got 4 categories. So it doesn't matter that in one variable I've used numbers, same numbers that I use in another, because it means different things. Okay, right. I think I want to deal with Which one do I want to? Right, if you've got a choice, right, which in SPSS, if you're going to have a choice, if you've decided that you're not going to follow my advice on entering data directly into SPSS, and you're going to either do it this way, where you do words, or you do this using numbers, I suggest you do it into words. And I'm going to show you why now. So say we've got this, right? So I save it. Just save it as an Excel file. I don't know what version of Excel I've got, but whatever version you have, it should pretty much work the same. Then I go to my SPSS, and now what you do is this. You go open, and then you go to your relevant folder. I don't know if you can see this, so I'll just say speak loudly. Type of file is Excel I want. Now you see I've got my Excel file there called movies surveys here, so I double click. This is Excel, by the way. Okay, and then what it says is error accessing the Excel file, because basically this really inconvenience this is that if you've got Excel open, you can't open it in another package, so I have to close it down. Unfortunately, I need to access this later on again. What a pain. Alright, so I close that. Now I should be able to do it. So open, and then Excel, and now it should work. There you go. What we get is a pop-up box. It says opening Excel data source, and all we need to know is this. You need to know that whether you have your labels in the first column. Well, we did, because remember in the first row we had like gender, age, basically telling you what the variables were. So I leave ticked read variable names from the first row, because my first row contains the labels. Second row here, it says worksheet. Which worksheet should they take the data from? Well, if you've only got one worksheet with data on, then just don't touch it, right? So in this case, we've only got one worksheet with data on, so I don't touch that. And pretty much then you've got some other options if you want to extract a subset of the data from Excel, but let's keep this simple. Pretty much if we're all beginners, we don't need to touch anything else. Okay, so then just press OK. There you go. And there we have it. Now, this is pretty much what we had in Excel. Okay, let's pause. Now, shape this thing. Right, ready. What to say next? Yep, you might think you're done, but you're not. And that's because, let's go, remember next to SPSS we have two tabs. This is the data view. This is what we actually, this is like the Excel spreadsheet, but we've also got variable view in SPSS, which tells us more about the variables. Okay, so it's telling us gender is a string, so it's just basically a list of letters. Age is numeric, and type of moving frequency, there's string, okay, and blah blah blah. Now some type of analysis you'll get away with doing without doing anything further to the data. For example, if you go descriptive stats, descriptives, calculate something about age, you can do so. But notice it only gives you age, it doesn't give you anything else about the other variables, gender or anything else. Okay, that's because some of the analysis requires that these things, the variable things, be numbers or represented by numbers. And that's where coding comes in. So you could see that in the second version of the data in Excel, they were already coded. We assigned to each of these guys numbers, right? So let's try and do something else with this. Say I want to do a regression, though we don't know might not know what regression is at this point. Let's try actually running something. You see, and you get an error message straight away. It says here, the error message is string variables are not allowed in the list. Okay, that's a common thing with newbies like us, is that we don't we leave things as string, and then you find that the thing doesn't run. It doesn't run because it doesn't like strings. Remember, strings basically just means list of characters, or words basically. Okay, so I have to kind of now do what they call recoding. Recode the stuff which is categorical into numbers. Okay, right, well look, age I don't have to touch. These guys I have to touch. Right, let's do gender. Now this is how you do it. You might do it, I'm going to show you the quick way. I'm going to do it the quick way using something called automatic recoding. And to do that, we're going to go transform and automatic recode button there. Instead of automatic recode, we can use like recode into different variables, which I've shown you in the questionnaire entry, data entry video in SPSS. So look at that if you're interested in doing that. Here I'm going to use automatic recode, which is supposed to make life easier for me. So gender, I take this over into the other box. New name, so I give this a short name with no spaces and a few letters, a few characters long, and then I go add name. What we've got under here is recode starting from, lowest value is ticked, is kind of is chosen. And what that means is that it's going to do alphabetically, so here, and it's going to assign the lowest value 1. So the lowest value is 1, and it's going to assign it alphabetically. So F comes before M, the first character, female for F, and M for male. So female will be coded 1 and male will be coded 2. That's what we're going to expect. Okay, so we click OK, and what's going to happen is that it's going to create a new column with a new variable called gen, and it's going to have numbers instead of words. So let's click OK. Here you go. Here is the new one. So as I said, female F, that's going to be coded 1, which it is. Male coded 2. And also note that if we've got massive data set, we might like to know this thing I'm going to show you here. We can toggle between the coding and the words as follows. This icon here got 1 and A, basically coding and the words, strings. Click on it and see what happens. I can toggle, look at this column, it toggles back and forth between coding and the letters. And now if I look at the analysis, if I were to try to say do regression again now, I would be able to run it. And also before we looked at descriptive stats, there was only age appeared, but now gender appears as well because I've coded it. I'm not done here because let's look at the variable view, because SPSS has done something neater than you might imagine at this stage. Gender. There was nothing under this thing called values. Look at gender. It has something. Look, this is what it means by recoding. It's assigned 1 here equals female, 2 equals male. So it's assigned it and it's entered it in for you. So it's taken a lot of the work out for you. Alright. So what remains is that you entered here the full thing. So it might be gender of responder, something like that. Again, I won't talk about too much about what these things are. If you want to know more about these these column things here, just go to the other video I made on questionnaire data entry. Okay, so that's the first thing, and I could do same with type of movie and frequency as well. Right, so is there anything else to say? Yes, there is, because gender is nominal. Okay, now what if I said, can you do that with ordinal categorical variables? Can you use automatic recoding? The answer is yes, you can, right? But it ain't, it won't do it in terms of ranking. Remember, in ordinal there is a natural ranking of numbers, so we can so basically if we have rarely coded 1 and numbers go upwards, it means the higher the number, the more often you go, right? So if you use automatic recoding, it won't do that. So the automatically recoding thing I've just shown you, a great convenience, is for nominal categorical variables. So I could do it with type of movie. With something like frequency, I'm going to have to use the manual thing. So please go to look at the questionnaire data entry thing on how to do that. Okay, so that's one thing. Now I'm going to turn and to the kind of the coded version. Now for the coded version, I put that in. I think I should show you everything. So wait a minute. Okay, so we've dealt with this kind of, and I've just remembered. Sorry. Opening Excel file in SPSS, tick, I've done that. Automatically recoding demonstrated, yes, I've done that. Handling missing values, no, I've not done that. So let me go back here. Let's put in, let's say we've got a fifth person in. Let's say male. Say he didn't give us his age. Comedy, no, action, say, whatever you like. Action, right? And we just noticed, yeah, when you're doing data entry into Excel at this stage, why you can just type it in these. It's not a headache to write these things in if you had to, because it's kind of got an intelligent system. So if you start typing the word, right, should come immediately. Just press enter, recognizes it. Alright, so let's, for the first one, we know NA stands for not applicable, so let's just do that, and let's just leave this one missing. So in other words, we're dealing with missing values here. Let's see what happens in SPSS now. Save. Remember to close the thing, otherwise it won't open SPSS. And then go back to SPSS. I'm going to open. And I go Excel spreadsheet, movies. And yes. Okay. So notice it's the same before, except for now age, it's got an NA. Frequency, it's just blank. Now, what we're going to do here? Well, suppose I try to do automatically recode and frequency, which we shouldn't, because first of all it's all null, but let's just forget about that. Let's try automatic recode and show you why it ain't a great idea when you've got missing values. Free for frequency. If I just press OK now, watch what happens. Can you see it's coded the blank button, which is not applicable, as 1, rarely, 4, very often, because this is alphabetical order, right? And if we go to variable view, what's it done? It's done 2 not very, 3 so it's not got 1 there. So 1 is pretty much, it's a missing value. Alright, so it's missing, so it should recognize this, that it's missing. If we go to analyze, maybe I'm making it more hard than I should. If we go to analyze and look at it, tells us there are 5 observations, minimum 1, maximum 5. So that's not what we want, because we've got a missing value, haven't we? That one guy there is missing. So what we should have done, let's delete this thing. You can still use automatic recode, but we have to note the following. Automatic recode, this guy here, frequency, lowest value. Look down here. Treat blank string values as user missing. In other words, if I check that, it will recognize that anything that's blank, that blank box, it means that it's a missing value. So now if I press OK, it's coded 5 now, but you can see here, missing, it recognizes it, it's coded 5, which is what you want. So now if we go analyze and descriptives, just on the frequency, we should see that it recognizes there is a missing box. Yeah. Let's see, what is it? Yeah. Valid 4 out of 5. So there's 1 missing. How about NA? Well, if we put NA, recall that age was before it was a numerical. Once you got NA, it suddenly turns into a string, because that NA, it's characters. But we don't want it to be a string, we want it to numerical. So type, change to numeric, and say OK. And see what happens to NA. It suddenly becomes a dot because it recognizes NA is missing. Of course, you could formally code this as a missing value as well. And again, I refer you to the video on questionnaire data entry. Okay, I think I've covered that then. Well, I say I've covered it, but always some of you have some questions on what I've done. So yeah. Unfortunately, you're not in the classroom with me to ask questions. So I'll just have to proceed to the next one, where it's already coded, and I want to show you why it's not a great idea. It's not so convenient when it's already coded. Okay, what we've got now in this case, can you see in sheet 2, I'm going to show you now how I'm going to kind of open it. I've got multiple sheets and I'm going to just open it from a different sheet, sheet 2. It's already coded, right? This actually gives us slightly more work. Well, more work. Well, there's work to be done. So let's do that. Open. By now you know what I'm doing. Open Excel spreadsheet, movies. Now pause. Before we open it from sheet 1, because we only had one sheet of data. Now, because I've got data on sheet 2, and it's from sheet 2 I wish to open the data, I have to press this. You can see that it's got sheet 1 and 2 because I've got data on sheet 1 and 2. So I choose sheet 2. That's all you do. Of course, if you've given those sheets a name, that's fine because they'll just appear here. You know, if you gave sheet 1 name coded and sheet 2 numbers, this would just appear as numbers, so it's fine. And okay. So you look at this and you think, wow, it's coded already, fantastic, I can move on straight away. And yes, you can. Yes, you can move on straight away, it's true. But the labels, in your output, it won't be as easy to read because it will just use these numbers as labels instead of the words. That might not make so much sense. So let me kind of show you what I mean by that. Let's see. Let's say I want to do a graph here. Let's say I want to do a graph. Let's see. A bar chart. Say I want to do a simple bar chart. Say I want to use movies. Okay, so movies was various type, wasn't it? Scary, blah blah blah. But because we haven't given it labels, it doesn't know what the labels are. It doesn't know what those actually numbers stand for. Remember, those numbers stand for something. They're not just the numbers are just for SPSS to handle. So you've got on the axis here, because I don't know if you can read it, I'll just tell you, it says that this first box is 1, 2, 3. We don't want actually 1, 2, 3. We, you know, that's for if we're going to kind of present that, doesn't look too good. We want it to say, instead of 1, we want it to say whatever that thing stood for, which I've forgotten now, right? So what do we do? We recode the guys by doing the following. I'll just start it because again the full details are on my video on questionnaire data entry in SPSS. Movie, numeric, good. Forget about everything else. Label, type of movie enjoyed, or something like that, my most preferred movie. Values here, I have to complete the box. So 1 stands for something. Was it comedy? Whatever it was I coded it as. 2, da da da, and so on. When I'm done, I go OK. Alright, so in this case, I don't use automatic recoding because it doesn't know what the numbers stand for. Right. Okay, so I think that's it really. Take home message then is I prefer you, if you're going to enter your own data, to do it straight into SPSS. If you're not going to do that, go to Excel then and enter the stuff in words, because then when you come to SPSS you can use automatic recoding. And if you're opening up somebody else's data set, well, if they've coded it, I've shown you how to deal with it. If they're giving it in words, I've shown you how to deal with that as well. And finally then, all I have to say is good luck, guys. I always kind of wonder where you guys head off to, because most popular kind of SPSS videos seem to be the one about entering data. But after entering data, I get hardly any other views on my other videos, so I suppose that you all head off on your own ways, or perhaps once you entered your data, that's it. Alright guys, take care.